Hello and welcome back to another video. My name is Jack and today I want to share with you how to find the best property deals on Rightmove in 2023. Now, before I do, there are 3 common mistakes that I just want to quickly run through because I don't want these mistakes to be mistakes that you make. Now, whether you're looking to invest in a buy-to-let, whether you're looking to flip a property, or whether you're sourcing deals for investors, make sure that you don't fall into these 3 common mistakes. The first one is choosing the wrong location. Now, when you think about your location, you want to be thinking about 3 main things. The first one being, what's your budget? What kind of price range are you looking at? If your budget is about £150,000, don't be looking in London, be looking at other areas, maybe more up north. Second is, what's your knowledge? Do you have local knowledge? If you're based in Blackpool and you know Blackpool really well and your budget works within Blackpool, then it's probably good to start looking in Blackpool rather than running across the country trying to find other good places to go. And the third one is distance. What kind of distance are you willing to travel? I know people who have built up a big property portfolio in Liverpool and they're based down in Brighton. They're happy to do that traveling because that is what their budget requires and it's the kind of area that they've built up local knowledge around. The second biggest mistake that people seem to be making at the moment is getting emotionally invested. So whether this is for a deal for yourself or whether it's for a deal for one of your investors that you're sourcing on, if you get emotionally invested, it's going to cause all kinds of problems. You need to just look at the facts. What are the numbers and base it off of that? What's the money in? What's the money out? What's the guarantee of that money out? What's the chances of the tenants being a nightmare? What kind of tenants you're going to be putting in? You've just got to look at things really objectively and not just get emotional about it. Which kind of links into the third point, which is when you look at just the best case scenario. That is one of the biggest mistakes I see out there at the moment. People who go and find properties, they do some due diligence and they handpick the best properties out there. So they look at it and they go, oh, well, there was a house that sold for £200,000 and it's really similar to the property that we've just found. And what they haven't looked at is that there's 5 other properties on the same street that are in good condition that have sold for 160. So whilst there might be some good properties, people naturally want to look at the best case scenario. When it comes to property, you're talking about a lot of money, so you don't want to put a lot of money at risk. The best way to do that is look at the worst case scenario. If you buy a property, if you're going to do it up and you're going to sell it, what is the least that it's going to sell for? If the property deal still stacks, then it's a good deal. Now, if you're interested in getting into property or you're already in property and you want to build and scale a property portfolio, I work with investors, serious investors, to find and secure the best property deals in the UK at the moment. I'm going to share with you in a minute how I find those, how I look for those on Rightmove and platforms like that. But if you are interested and you don't really have the time to put in the legwork to find these property deals, get them secured, get them negotiated, package them up, find tenants, all that type of thing, then we offer a hands-free service where we provide those deals for you. So if you're interested, click the link in the description to join our free mailing list, and as and when we get deals in, we'll send them out to you on an email and you can let us know if you want to buy them. Now, with those things in mind that I shared earlier, I'm just going to share with you a quick clip of a training video that I made all about how to find the best deals on Rightmove. Hope you enjoy. So I'm going to assume that you've never used Rightmove before and just kind of talk you through exactly what I am doing as I'm doing it. If you've used Rightmove before, that's fine, just bear with me. I'll fly through this as quickly as I can. So you go to rightmove.co.uk and let's say that my area is Preston and we'll just go properties for sale. So then it comes to this kind of filtering section here. So I will go, let's just say Preston's fine, I don't need to expand it any more than that. You've got the price range here. I'm not going to be looking for anything under 50,000 because it's probably not going to actually be a viable option. And let's say that my budget is up to £100,000. Then in terms of number of bedrooms, I don't want 1 beds or studios. I want a minimum of 2 bedroom terraced houses. And when it comes to property types, I want to be selecting houses. I'm not interested in flats or apartments because they are leasehold properties. And I don't want to be buying flats with 100-year leases on them. That's just my personal preference. I also find that it's really hard to add value to a flat because you can't really make it any bigger. You can't add space. And so I would just go for houses. And then that's it. We're then going to go for find properties. and we're going to filter it this way. So we've got 42 options available. Now, a lot of these might be shared ownership, they might be auction properties, but I'm just going to find the first house that I can that looks like a decent price, that's going to make sense, that I can just show you as an example. So what I'd then go to do is I would then go oldest listed. That's my usual go-to when it comes to filtering and sorting options, just because it means that, especially at the moment with mortgage rates changing quite often, I'm filming this in 2023, at the beginning of 23, mortgage rates are changing quite often. And so with the mortgage rates changing a lot, people are going to buy properties, their mortgage offer runs out, and then they have to fall through, the chain breaks down and properties go back on the market. So it's taking some people a long time to sell their property. So if a property's been on the market 6, 7, 8, 9 months, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad property or a bad deal. It just means that it may have sold and the deal may have fallen out of bed, and so it's back on the market. So I'm very interested in properties that have been on for a while. And so what I'm just going to do is simply start looking through the different properties that are available. So I never click on the adverts themselves. It feels like a complete waste of time. I just click on the little arrow that's next to the images, so I can sift through them really quickly, so I can see whether they're in good or bad condition. Now, I know this area really well. Let's just, in fact, let me just filter. I know I said I was going to do oldest listed, but let's just go lowest price. So if I just scan through these, a lot of these are shared ownerships. I'm not interested in those. So 34 Dodgson Road, this looks like it could do with a big refurb. So let's have a quick look at this. Okay, now, my thing with this is it's an auction property, and so you'll be paying all sorts of auction fees and legal costs on top of this. But let's just assume for the purposes of this video that it's not an auction property and that you can buy it for the asking price, okay? And that it's just a simple sale. Just for the purposes of this video, so it makes a bit more sense. So if I'm looking through here, we've got 34 Dodgson Road. The first thing that I'm going to be looking for is the condition. What kind of condition is it in? I would look at that and instantly say that's going to need a minimum of £20,000, probably more like £25,000 to do a full renovation on this property. Depends on the condition of the doors, windows, roof, things like that. You may have to spend a little bit more. And then the first thing that I do when it comes to assessing whether a deal is going to be good or not is I will scroll right down. I kind of briefly look at the description, but we'll just dash right down as quick as I can to this section here, which is property sale history. So if this property has been sold before, it will tell me what it's sold for. Currently, it says that there is no history found, but I'm going to jump to go to nearby sold prices. That will open up a new tab, and it will tell me within that postcode what have houses sold for. This is the #1 way where if you can see that there is a trend, if you can see that houses are selling for a particular price, it will give you a really good indication of what the house is worth. Now, I only really work within a few months, so if anything has sold previous to a few months, it's hard to really gauge that. So like this one here, we've got May 2021. Well, I know the market has absolutely blown up since May 2021. The prices have gone through the roof. And so this may not be an accurate example. However, I'm still going to click on it because it's sold for £79,000. And if I scan through these pictures, I mean, this was in bad condition. This needed a renovation anyway, albeit not as much as ours did, but it does need a full renovation, and it sold for about £10,000 more about 3 years ago. So no, 2 years ago. So this looks like a really interesting property in a really interesting area. So what I'll then do is I will take the postcode from this section, open up another tab. You're going to have to get used to opening and closing a lot of tabs on this so that you can keep track of things. I'll then go to Rightmove and I will put that postcode back in, and we're going to go for sale, but we're going to click include under offer or sold subject to contract. Okay, so this is perfect. This works really well because what we can see here is we've got a couple of properties here that are 3-bedroom terraced houses in that exact same postcode. So I know the one we've got is a 2-bedroom, but this tells us that there is scope for properties to, the value of properties to increase. So we've got one here. It may not mean that it's sold exactly at 120,000, but it's on the market at 120, and it is marked as sold subject to contract. So you can scroll through here and you can see instantly, clearly someone's bought this, renovated it, and just sold it. So that's good news. We've also got this one here for 95, and this one needs renovating, needs a bit of work doing to it. It's not in the best condition, so that is also a positive. And then this one here is on, this is our property. So what will have happened? Okay, so what will have happened with this one? This property will have been bought through this estate agency, but then what they'll have done, whoever bought it has clearly come into some financial problems, or they're looking to offload it quickly for whatever reason, so they're quickly selling it at auction. So you can see that property sale's probably already gone through, and now they're flogging it at auction, unless it's the seller, something went wrong with the sale, and so now they just want to sell it quickly, and it's, I'm not sure what's happened there, but ultimately it is now on for £68,500. But what we can see, as I say, is that there is scope to increase the value. This is very, very positive. So my initial thoughts are, these ones are 3 beds. So we need to work out what houses are going for if they're done to a good standard, but they are 2-bedroom terraced houses. So if I go within a quarter mile and I go max bedrooms, number 2 of those, and we go for terraced houses. Because what we want to do when we're doing our due diligence is look for like-for-like comparables. As you can see here, there's one for 120, but instantly, well, one, it needs some renovating, but it's got a much bigger garden, bay-fronted window, and it's got a driveway. So this isn't like-for-like. This one, again, is not like-for-like. This one, let's have a quick look. It looks like it's a similar kind of layout, but it hasn't sold. Very similar layout, but it's not sold at 112,000. Here we go, you can see 0.07 miles away. So this is like 50 steps away from the one we've got. And it's, I mean, it's not even incredible, is it? It's okay, a good standard, and it's marked as sold at £110,000. We've got another one here that is quite a bit nicer, sold subject to contract, 110,000. This one is not like for like, so I'm not going to look at that. This one here, 105,000, a little bit further away, okay condition. This one again, a lot closer, and 95,000, but could do with a little bit of work to it, maybe replace the flooring. And again, this one needs a bit of renovating as well, and it's on for 93. So what I'm looking at here, my estimation would be that if we were to buy, if I go back to it, if we were to buy this house right here, the end value, once we've done it up, would be somewhere around the £100,000 to £110,000. If we did it to a good standard, that's my conservative estimate on this type of property, 100 to 110,000. So now we know the end value. What we need to do is we need to work our way backwards. So what I'm going to show you is how I calculate the return on investment when it comes to flipping a house. So if I just pull up a calculator, I've got my phone here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk through exactly how I calculate a flip deal. So the calculation for a flip deal is essentially you've got to work your way backwards. So what is the end value? What's the sale price? We've worked out 100 to 110. Then you want to take off your total investment, how much money you are investing. Let's assume it's cash at the moment. We're doing a cash purchase. What is the total we have spent on this deal? So that would be the purchase price, the stamp duty, the legal costs, all those things, the holding costs. We want to calculate all of those, take it away from the end value, and then that will leave us with our profit. So if we work our way backwards, let's say we go 105, we'll meet in the middle, £105,000. If I then take off the purchase price, which is 68,500, I'm then going to take off stamp duty, which would be roughly, on a property like this, let's have a quick look. We're looking at about £2,000 here, £2,055. We then want to be working out what things, what else we've spent on it. So we've got stamp duty, we've got the purchase price. We then want to take off, let's say, £1,000 for the legal costs. Let's say we also want to spend about £25,000 on the renovation. So we've there got legal costs covered, we've got purchase price covered, we've got the stamp duty, we've got the renovation. So we've added all our costs up, and then we have taken them off the estimated end value. And what we are left with is £8,445. Now, that's not exact, there are a few other numbers to consider, but that is basically where you would be at if you were to do this deal. Now, what this is helpful for is to work out what you need to offer to make this stack as a flip property, okay? So if you were to flip this house, you would not be paying £68,500 unless you were happy to just get £8,000, 8.5 grand for your profit. Let's say your profit margin, you needed to get 15 grand on this deal. So then what you need to do is you need to work out, right, if you wanted to get £15,000 profit, you need to be working out the difference between this and what it would be if you needed to make £15,000. So if we wanted to make £15,000, we'd need an extra £6,500, right? I'm there or thereabouts. So £6,500. That tells me we would need to get about £6,500 off the purchase price. So if we've got £68,500, take off the £6,500, we need to be offering £62,000 to make this deal stack with a £15,000 profit. What you can then work out is what your return on investment would be if that was the case. So if you were to make £15,000 and in total you've spent, in fact, let's work it out, £68,500 plus your stamp duty, plus £1,000 for legals, plus £25,000 on the refurb, okay? So you're all in at 96,500. So 96,500, and you're making £15,000 profit. If you divide it by that, you are making 15.5% profit margin. That is your return on investment. That's your profit margin. So you're spending 96 and you're getting 15 back. So that's how you work out your return on investment when it comes to a flip property. I hope that training video was helpful and insightful. If you are looking to build a property portfolio and you are a serious buyer, but you maybe don't have the time to be going through Rightmove, doing all the viewings, vetting the properties, negotiating, getting them secured, we do all of that for you at the Property Network. We have a property sourcing service and we send out property deals that we get all the time through emails. So if you want to receive those emails, find out all the great property deals that we have, whether it's below market value, whether it's guaranteed rents on social housing leases, whether it be discounted HMO properties, whatever it is, we provide that for you. So if you want to sign up to get those emails, click the link in the description, fill in your details. It's absolutely free. And then we'll send out any properties that we get. And if you're interested, we can have a conversation about helping you build your portfolio. If you're interested in property, my whole channel is all about property investing and flipping houses. So why don't you check out this video here, because I think you might find it quite helpful.